But we did get an update on Brusdar Graterol recently, and the report was not a positive one. He has been shut down from his throwing progression. There's no new injury or setback, but basically his arm still not feeling great, not bouncing back as well as the team had hoped. And so Fabian Ardaya reporting that he's been shut down from the throwing progression, according to Dave Roberts. It's going to be a longer process, it seems, for a Dodgers bullpen that at one point seemed like it was a mess, which maybe now is the best time to get this news, Anthony, because we don't all hate the Dodgers bullpen as much as we probably did a week ago. But
Yeah.
for a guy in Graterol that you're hoping to be in that high leverage role, I'm just very hopeful. And I don't mean hopeful as in optimistic. I am hoping very hard that this is not the type of injury that 2 or 3 weeks from now we get a Graterol had surgery on body part, fill in the blank.
Yeah. Kind of feels ominous.
Yeah.
Ominous.
There you go. There you go.
No, yeah, we talked about this when it first happened, when it went from a hip to a shoulder, and we were both kind of skeptical about, like, because they were like, "Oh, it's a quick thing," and it didn't sound like that. You don't go from a hip to a shoulder and then be like, "Oh yeah, he'll be no problem. He'll be back right away." This is not good. Not aside from just him being shut down and the prospects of him actually pitching this season, not good. This is not good for this roster. He was being counted on as being a high leverage, big inning, big situation kind of arm for them out of that bullpen. And to lose him and for him to have not even thrown a ball yet, that's not great, because with him out, with Trinan still not being out, and then we'll kind of see how these guys come back. One, it probably means if May does come back, he might have to slide into the bullpen, which probably makes the most sense anyway. But still, I think what this does is it forces them to really probably have to get aggressive in the bullpen market, in the reliever market. Probably something they didn't want to have to do. But if Trinan isn't what he was before he got hurt and you don't get Graterol, you kind of have to go after somebody like that, like a back end type of arm that is going to have a lot of probably suitors, and it means the price tag is going to be high. But I think that's kind of where this road starts to lead now if he's not going to be able to pitch.
Yeah, some good news for the Dodgers. Here's the last 14 days coming into today. It's hilarious because you look at the guys who have ERAs of 0 over that stretch. Alex Vesia, 6 2/3, no earned runs. Evan Phillips, 5 innings, no earned runs. Michael Grove, 5 innings, no earned runs. Nick Ramirez had 5 innings, no earned runs prior to tonight's outing. Ricky Vanasco, 2 innings, no earned runs. Yarbrough, who I guess is technically a reliever, but 9 1/3 with a 3.86 ERA. Joe Kelly, Ryan Brazier, Daniel Hudson have not been great. But even just to see Phillips as dominant as he has been, to see Vesia, Vesia, 12.15 strikeouts per 9 over his last 6 2/3. Michael Grove, 14.4 strikeouts per 9 over his last 5. These are guys who have been dominant of late. You mix in, like I said, Phillips. So it's nice for the Dodgers to be getting some production from a guy like Vesia, who I've held on hope for. Michael Grove, everybody who follows this show knows, A, I'm biased, and B, I'm feeling slightly vindicated about the performance he's had over his last 7 or 8 innings. But Joe Kelly has been tough to watch. Ryan Brazier, equally tough to watch, maybe tougher to watch. Daniel Hudson, even a guy at the beginning of the season, we're like, all right, we got Phillips and Hudson. Who else? Daniel Hudson has struggled lately. And so Blake Trinan is on a rehab assignment, but not expected back for a couple of weeks. JP Fireeisen couldn't cut it at the major league level, got sent back down to sort of build himself back up after being away from the game for a year. And so you just go down this list, and I would say there are more positives in the bullpen now than there were maybe a week ago, Anthony. But again, all of this just seems to sort of bold, underline, italics the need that the Dodgers have in the bullpen for, please, Ryan Brazier, figure it out. Daniel Hudson, figure it out. Joe Kelly, figure it out. Or Brusdar Graterol's shoulder, figure it out.
Yeah. The injury luck in the bullpen this early has been just crushing. And you're having to rely on guys for bigger loads and higher leverage. than you expected, and
Yeah.
they're having to rely on guys who they probably figured, if all things go well, wouldn't even be in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And now they're playing critical roles for this club. It's a good thing that it's early still. We're not even out of the first calendar month. Um, I know you and I the last few Fridays have had to talk people off of ledges and keep reminding everybody of that, but it's easier to do it when a winning streak is happening. But um, you 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 feel like if you continue to have to rely on these unproven guys, at some point you have a burst,
Yeah.
and you don't want to have to get to that point. You want to at least be able to sort of space out that high leverage situations for some of these guys, and not have to throw them straight into the fire. But this is where we are. That's
Yeah.
why starting to get a little more length out of the rotation
Yeah.
is going to be critical.
Yeah.
And hopefully now, as these guys enter starts, 5, 6, 7, 8, that length is something that they can start to deliver, where instead of pitching into the fifth and you're hoping for a sixth, you're starting to hope for seventh innings now. And with guys like Glassnow and Yamamoto, maybe even eighth innings if they're efficient. So
Yeah.
that's going to be huge. I think this rotation is going to end up being a bigger help for the bullpen than probably any arm that might come out of injury or trade, at least for the near future.
Yeah, and look, if some of these starting pitchers start to get healthy, if Walker Bueller is able to come back, if you get anything out of a bunch of the other names we've mentioned, it's possible that a guy like Stone or a guy like Knack, if they can prove themselves to be effective, then maybe you can convert those guys and hope that you find some effectiveness there. Kyle Hurt is a guy down at the minor league level that I think has the potential to be a real weapon, that they're probably wanting to slow him down a little bit as an option. But so I think there are pieces there. But again, stay tuned on Graterol news because that's going to be a big one. We got.